Hello, heroes, and welcome to Kvell. I'm the spiritual director here at Kvell. My name is Jamar, and that means one who brings light. I received that name in my late 20s, and it really marked a turning point for me. I had been in the business world and doing the things I do in the business world. I'd always been an entrepreneur of sorts, and on my spiritual path, and as a result specifically of it, I was given that name in a fairly intimate spiritual experience, an awakening of sorts, a vision, if you will. And I knew at that point that I no longer could continue under the ideas that I had previously and for so long. It had shattered for me on some levels the idea of who I was and how I was supposed to do myself, how I was supposed to show up on this planet. And so I began a search for others who are interested in learning and growing and expanding. And along the way, I picked up lots of certifications, tools, if you will, to accomplish that. I became a Kripalu Yoga teacher, and I've taught more than 10,000 classes under that heading. A meditation teacher, a life support facilitator, a rebirther, a senior trainer of transformational breath, an Enlightenment Master, where I facilitated for many years sitting practices for people of 3 and 7 days where they would contemplate some of the big questions in life and potentially have that experience. My certifications go on and on. It's just paper. But I've spent a lot of time in that search, in that exploration for the truth. And what's presented itself is an opportunity to share that with you and from my own experience of some 30 years now. The beautiful thing about our spiritual journey is you ultimately get to discover self. Well, that's what it's all about. Not the self of your religion, not the self of your parents, not the self of anybody else, of your culture, your nationality, your gender, but the true self, the one that is you, the one that is perfect, the one that is whole, the one that is lovable, that comes into and on this plane knowing that. And for most of us, our journey of wellness, or what you might call your spiritual journey, is the return to that knowledge. Some of us try to accomplish that. We try to be the thing that we think we're supposed to be. And we can celebrate that tryingness, but it's a little misguided. Ultimately, to reveal the self, we shed away or pull away all that we are not. And most of the disciplines that I've explored over the years were an attempt to support others in doing that more efficiently and more quickly. I like at the opportunities that we arrive at today. It seems like in our society that we have an opportunity to grow and expand at a rate that we couldn't previously, that was unheard of. There's a vast wealth of information and a concentrated effort to share that. That's what we do here at Kvell. We create a space for you to step into, and we hold the vision of the potential of you, the hero's journey. My own path began a long time ago, and independent of my interpretation of that, I can assure you that trauma and pain were the biggest motivators for me. And they came in a way that required me to take steps to change and shift, and often pain is a motivator for most of us. So it didn't start from sitting on a mountaintop. It came from a basic desire to expand, that how I was and or understood myself to be, the interpretation of the information that was all around, suggested a smallness, a limitation, a not enoughness, an unlovability. And ultimately there was some part of me that wouldn't settle for that any longer. And so began the journey, that search for truth. Of course, we mirror ourselves after models. We search for models of health and wellness, of recovery, of spirituality. And those are helpful on the way. But ultimately, a hero's journey begins with finding your own path, the unfolding of what's the next step for you. And there's so much information available to you now that I'm excited about the choices that you'll naturally make in your own life. So my role here is to remind you of that, to share some of those experiences with you as you decide, as you search for the courage to open, to share, to risk. It requires that on all levels to come into the fullness of your being, to touch into the perfection, the lovability, your connection, the oneness, and the support from Source or any other word that resonates with you. So I'm excited about where we'll be going together. I want you to know that I'm here for you, to help you heal, to help you feel proud. Hero is courage, and hero is you.